Hello, my dear gentle marketers. Welcome to the Gentle Business Revolution podcast, the show where we talk about marketing your business by disrupting the current marketing paradigm and changing it to a gentler approach, one that's based on empathy and kindness. As always, I'm Sarah Croce. I'm the host here, and you know that you're in the right place if you are a heart-centered entrepreneur or change maker who is looking for a better way to market your business. You might also be an entrepreneur who is tired of the traditional marketing model and are ready for a paradigm shift. And finally, it could also be that you're a marketing impact pioneer, so someone who's working in an organization who does business for good. So Penny and I are back with this special summer series of 6 episodes where we take a look at the 7 P's of gentle marketing. And today's, sadly, the last episode. And in this one, we talk about the P of promotion. And I hinted at it, and it's ready now, the page where you can always go back to and listen to the episodes you missed before, or even watch us on video. So just go to sarahsonencroce.com/penny, that's PENNEY, where, again, you can find all the episodes, the 6 of them, plus the intro episodes, all in one page. All right, let's dive in and talk about promotion and the difference between the old and new perception. Here's Penny and I. Hello, gentle marketers. Sarah here and Penny again. I'm so glad to do this last session with you, Penny. So excited. So this time we talk about promotion. I'm putting up the mandala again.
Right.
So this is the promotion P that kind of brings it all together in a way, right? We're talking about marketing, and so promotion has to do with, yes, all the 7 P's, but putting yourself out there. That's really what I see under promotion, and away from that fear-based scarcity thinking way of promoting to a conscious and authentic promotion. So I'm excited where we end up today. And again, always looking at the 2 different angles, old way, old perception towards new perception. Where are we going? How can we do things with more fun, with more ease, and all of that?
Yes.
How would you want to start? Like, what comes up for you when you think about maybe the old promotions that didn't feel good that you've seen that made you go, I have
never liked what I call marketeering, where there are these formulas that they follow, and that's supposed to work to like trick you, hypnotize you, whatever it is, that, or just wear you down.
Yeah.
And this whole thing of now conversions, on your website, how much conversion do you have to people who will buy?
Tracking.
I know there's a science to it, but I also feel like there's an art, and I really resist. I do not like to be disrespected, and I do not like to be manipulated. And I think selling in a good way, it is just about educating and informing and giving people the information they need. And maybe you're showing them a little bit about extra needs they didn't know they might have wanted to have met that come with the thing they thought they needed. Does that make sense?
Right. Addressing the needs or the reasons why they came to you in the first place, but then saying, look, this is also addressing this that you haven't even thought of.
Yeah. And then I think, then that's really great. Then see, that convinces me that I didn't realize I could even have that.
Right.
And there it is.
Yeah.
So I think of sales and marketing a lot just about education. There's no pressure with it. I don't like the pressure.
Right.
I always rebel against that. And I will not buy something because of the way they market it.
Right.
Actually.
I think that's part of the reason for me kind of starting the revolution and writing the marketing, the gentle marketing book is rebelling against this pushy and manipulative way that has become almost the norm. I'm not saying everybody's using it, but these loud marketers are obviously so loud that in the end, that's almost everything we see out there, everything that we can get access to as entrepreneurs and bigger businesses are these kind of manipulative strategies. And some of them are very subtle. Like some of them don't even know that they're manipulating. But some of them are all based on this cookie cutter approach and templates, and that's become the norm. And so it's almost like untraining that marketing stuff, which we've all just been so accustomed to. And it is refreshing when you see something else, but it's almost like, oh, this is very different. Like you're so used to the pushy stuff.
Yeah. And I always start with, well, if it were me reading about this product, if it's my product and I'm going to put it across to others, what would I want to know about this?
Right.
So, and what do people actually need to know? I like to know the price in the early stages. I don't want to be led through, register for this and then register for that and open your shopping cart. Now you know what it is, now that you've already filled out all these forms.
Right.
I'll just cut the whole website off, when they do that.
Yeah.
Like, just give me the whole picture.
Right.
I'm reliable. I'm smart, but maybe we could talk about that. What do people really need to know in order to feel that they've got the whole picture?
Yeah. I don't remember in which episode, but we talked about storytelling, and that's part of promotion, right? And that's where we don't sell in stories. We just get people to agree with how we see the world and the stories we tell, share about our values. So there's no selling, but in a way, it's a nice way to warm people up to the way we see the world. There's no need for them to know these stories, clearly. Like they can live happily ever after without knowing that story. But it's still something that keeps them in the connection, because what we're really trying to do is create a relationship with our clients. Relationship, I say that, loosely. Obviously, they're not going to become all our best friends, but we want people to know who we are, what we stand for. And so that's where the stories come in. So do they really need to know these stories? No. However, what you're referring to is kind of more the sales pages or, the product description. I agree with you. What they need to know, or what most people still, the left brain, what it wants to know first is the price. And so I agree with you. I don't like to, kind of have to scroll 10 meters to kind of get the price at the bottom of the page.
Right.
Like, give me that earlier on so I can already make a decision whether that is a good fit for me or not at the moment. So.
I also when you're saying story, I do think that, I have a friend who specializes in sales, and I was working with him the other day, and I hadn't really looked at his website too much, but he has an about page where he tells a pretty long story about his background, which I didn't know. He'd been in the military, and I thought, well, oh my gosh, I never knew that about him. And that somehow made him feel more competent to me.
Right.
Like, this guy knows about discipline. He's not just a, snake oil salesman or something. So I think the stories can be a way to help others understand your competence level.
Yeah.
As well. But then also testimonials I like a lot, because I like to hear what other people say. I love review pages on products, where people give them the 4, 5 stars, 2 stars, and why. And it lets me get a sense of what to check out, what works, what doesn't work. So I can use my own mind to decide.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, that's the new way that we actually buy products, is by checking, well, what do other people say about it? Right.
Right.
And that also, again, comes back to saying that the conscious client is so much smarter today. In the book, I write also about a doctor's visit. Like, there's still so many doctors who are stuck in the old way, and they think that we don't, Google doesn't exist. So they just want to be the god of, all the diseases, and only them, they have access to everything out there in the medicine world.
Yeah.
But the conscious patient already kind of, spends time on Google and tries to figure out what kind of symptoms. And if she goes to the doctor, maybe she's not a doctor, so she doesn't know exactly, but she has some ideas. And so she wants the doctor to be open to having a conversation about what she thinks she has, and not just be told, oh, no, Google is always lying. There's a bunch of garbage. Like we have this access now, include us in the conversation, right? And so again, that confirms so much that the conscious client is smarter and wiser and more informed.
Yes. I think part of what clients need to know, the regular stuff, features and benefits. Because sometimes when you have a benefit list, there are things in there that you hadn't thought of, like, oh, it could do this, it rounds out your picture of how valuable the product or service is. So I do like those things. That's a left brain thing, but it gives me, I'm more about getting an experience of what the thing could be. How does it work? I want to, feel it, and have it almost like a pre-experience of it before I buy it. And I want to know that it's going to kind of match my frequency level, my consciousness level, or my energy level, and that it's going to be easy to use, or assimilate or integrate, depending on if it's information or if it's a thing. Right. I don't know. What else do people really need to know in order to buy? Or maybe there are some fantasy things that they get hooked on. That's also interesting.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like it promises that you'll be better looking, or you'll be, smarter, or whatever, things like that are.
Yeah. So again, I think that comes back to the transparency, is like, are you actually putting things into your promotions that you can stand behind them, that are actually true, or are you over promising on results? Right. How can you promise? Like I remember I told you the story about this editor that I contacted, and she gave me a quite outrageous price, and she said, this book is going to make your business. and she cannot, keep that promise. That's an empty promise. She has no idea whether this book is going to be garbage or. So that's, to me, that's over promising something that you can't guarantee. In a way, it has to do with transparency, but also like telling the truth. Like, I have no idea. Like what I always say with people who I'm helping to get clients on LinkedIn, it says in the contract, I have no idea whether this is going to get you a client within the 3 months that we're working together. I don't know. There's so many factors that play into this. So over promising, I think is it's hugely manipulative in the market.
Yes. I also think that a lot of the old way of selling is actually to the left brain. It's from the left brain to the left brain, and that kind of analytical, fact-based, data-based, statistic-based stuff. Numbers-based. And it's intellectual. Whereas the more intuitive I've become, the more tactile, I would say, I've become. Like, I need examples of something to feel how it works. I need to see, a demo of something online, because they describe things, especially in the digital realm
Right.
with these terminologies that I've never heard of. And it doesn't, I don't know what it actually means in the physical world, and they don't feel a need to define anything either, So I'm like, what? I need a tactile kind of version, like you were talking about the people who were selling the shoes made from the sheep up in the Alps or whatever, and how popular those are, people willing to pay more for that. But when you think about a sheep and the wool and it being made I can see that whole process in my mind, and I can feel it happening. And then I can feel the texture of the shoe.
Right.
To me, that is like tactile marketing, and I think we need to include that now, especially body-oriented feeling states. And you mentioned beauty before too in one of the previous broadcasts, but I think that is important, and that there can be sensory ways of representing product, almost poetic ways of describing things. It's a metaphor. It's like a beautiful sunset, or it's like the feeling you get when you're looking in a baby's eyes, or whatever. That goes straight to me. If I can feel the example of it or the tactile sense of it, I can understand the terminology. Then I can see where the terminology originated from, and then I'm getting a full-on sense of the thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's in complete opposition to what we're seeing now, which is the 6 and 7 figure headlines, the what people always talk about. If you invest in this, in 3 weeks, you'll get this many clients, and that you will have made your money back and tripled it and 10x'd it or whatever. So all of these fact-based things are clearly addressing the left side. And it seems like everything we buy is always money related. It's like, is this worth my money rather than is this worth my growth and experience and whatever.
And this overlaps a lot with our talk on pricing, about ego in pricing. And I think in marketing that, of course, the pricing comes through a lot. And we were talking too earlier about these online webinar things where, you take this free webinar and then you get sent through these channels to the final. It takes like an hour, and then you get like 2 pieces of information. Right. And then at the end, there's this huge sales pitch. Right. And then at the end, this has a value of, $35.97, and then, but we're giving it to you for only $697. Right. And it always has to have a 7 at the end now,
And there's a list of all the things. This has this much value. This has this value.
Breaking it down. Yeah. And you're getting it for this, and then I'm like, I just waded through that whole thing, waiting for something like a payoff at the end. That's something I'm actually going to get from spending an hour of my time. Right. And I get this ridiculous thing that just insults my intelligence. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people buy it because it goes back to what we were talking about before, about the celebrity culture, where the person who seems like the great expert who's making, look how much money I'm making every year on this, and you can too. Yeah. By doing the same thing that I just did to all you people. I wonder, it's like it bypasses your own natural common sense in a way.
And that's where the anxiety comes in as well. And the first round of the program was called anxiety-free marketing, because what I realized is that people who have to market their business feel a lot of anxiety, but also the marketing that we are receiving and seeing creates so much anxiety. And so people who are in this webinar and they see this guru who has it all, who made it, who makes millions, and then he makes this ridiculous offer. Well, there's a lot of anxiety because you want to be like him. You know, it's like this, I'm not enough. He made it.
Right.
Let me get that. And so it's this gap that people talk about in marketing as well. It's more like a huge abyss between where the marketer wants you know, to get and where the clients currently are. And so using that anxiety in marketing it's just so inhumane. It's so mean to get people to buy out of anxiety.
Yes. Yeah. Fear-based marketing. Really, you know, and again, that's ego stuff. Mm-hmm. Don't you want to feel as great as this other person who's really the big success?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than already feeling like you're one with the person who's offering you the service or the product, like we're parallel, you know, and you have everything I have, and I've been at it a long time, so I have expertise in it, but you do too,
right?
You know, so it's not like you're better and worse. Yeah.
And what comes up for me with that is really dare to be different, and that comes back to a lot of, you know, feeling the self-worth, feeling a lot of confidence to say, I'm going to do things differently, even though everybody tells me that you should be doing things this way, and here's the template to use, and this is how you sell on webinars and all of that.
Right.
Just say no to all of that and dare to do it differently. And there is a different way.
Yes. Yes. And I think another piece of, and this is what we're talking about, is physical world stuff. This is, in a way, just working in the physical world alone has a lot to do with old perception. Whereas new perception is working in the non-physical world and the physical and the interconnection between the two.
Right.
But in the physical world, I do also think that humor has a great place for it. There's a series of TV commercials for a clothing company here I think it's called Duluth Trading Company, and they have a really deep man's voice, like a bass, and these little cartoons of the blue jeans or whatever it is, or the work shirt or something, and they're funny. They're written with almost like tongue-in-cheek humor,
right?
And they're short.
Okay.
And I mean, I love those. They are just, I look forward to finding them and watching them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I like that, and if it kind of ties in with the webinars as well, because I remember doing my first webinars and doing exactly what I was told to do, right? I got this template and I tried to do my spiel and always tried to be a little bit different, and I definitely didn't do the 10-minute intro and share how good I am. I skipped that, but then I felt like I have to sell, and it was always so awkward, and really, I lost my train of thought now. What was I going to say?
It's effortful, you know. It's really fakey, and it doesn't feel good to do it.
Myself so seriously with this webinar thing, and the minute something didn't work, the mouse wouldn't move or the slide wouldn't move forward, I was like sweating and like really pushing so much, and it was just. Yeah, it was really difficult. And I think a lot of people are taking themselves too seriously because we are taught that, you have to look professional and business is serious if you want to be taken seriously. And so the seriousness comes out everywhere. And I think you're so right. There needs to be more humor. There needs to be space for laughing at yourself and saying, look, I'm not perfect. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we were talking the other day too about introverts and extroverts. And I think there's something to do with promotion when you're like, we are introverts, basically. I mean, I love people, but not too many at once, like, and I think with introverts, we are working a lot with the non-physical realm all the time, and extroverts are working a lot more, I think, with the physical world. So that kind of marketing might be more natural for that kind of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to learn to balance this out, of the connection between the two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've in one of these previous things I mentioned how when I was first starting out, I would imagine this lighthouse up above my bed when I went to sleep at night. And I would set the light to turning and sending it out to the whole country or whatever. And I would say, I'm here, and anybody who wants to work with me, you can find me. Here I am. And I would go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was kind of seeding the clouds, or, communicating in the telepathically in a way with the non-physical realm. And that sort of started working. I would get calls from people who were in other parts of the country, and they'd hear word of mouth or something. And then the other example was I would think, well, I better take out an ad in one of the, directories and the magazines or newspaper. And I would go to all this and do it. And then I would never get one response from those ads, but I would get responses from other directions. Mm-hmm. So I kind of realized that doing that kind of advertising and promotion was actually a ritual for my body to say, she really means it. Because here's an act, a physical act that she took that means that she put her money on the line and she's wanting to do it.
Right.
And then it would come in, but from somewhere else. So I eventually gave up doing ads, and I worked a lot more with the pure non-physical world of. Right. I also noticed, for instance, when you're self-employed and you have clients for services, if I'm excited and I really want to work with people, the phone rings a lot. And then if I get tired of that and I say, oh gosh, I'm really tired and I don't know, it stops ringing. And then I used to think, well, what did I do wrong? People don't like me anymore. I should do, gear up again. But actually, I was getting what I had asked for, which was I needed to rest a little bit,
right,
and have a cycle where I could integrate and be quiet, and then I would just naturally get interested in people again, and the phone would start ringing. So I started to see how really directly connected my what would you call it? It's my edict to the unified field was what I say I want, I get. But when I feel that I want it, also when I say it and feel it, I get it.
Right.
When it's actually an internal need, the universe just provides that, and it can shift on a dime. Mm-hmm. So I stopped complaining about when things don't work, because they actually are working. And as soon as I can get back in the flow with all that, then everything picks up again. Or I get some kind of miraculous thing that drops in, and I get a chunk of money from here or there that wasn't even business related. So
sometimes things just work in the background and you don't even
know. That's right. That's right. Yeah. And I think that's part of the new consciousness and in the new paradigm, is that we will work very consciously with the non-physical realms and with the beings that are in the non-physical realms, the non-physical souls and beings, to cooperate and ask for help when we need it. And I've had a lot of experience with doing that. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think it's quite real, but you have to work in your imaginal realm first. You have to think it up and feel into it and actually get that tactile sense in your body that all these people are out there helping me, and whatever I need, they want to provide it. The world wants to help me so that I can help everybody else, and I can share my part, put it back into the soup, and I think you start to understand those principles.
In a way,
that again makes marketing easier.
Right. It kind of belongs to the partnership almost, because you're partnering with, partners that you can't really see maybe, but in a way you're just trusting this other partner that's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
and you're opening up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one way to think of it is all of us probably have a relative who's died that we still talk to, that we don't think they're totally gone. I mean, I still see my mother in dreams or standing next to my bed sometimes, so she's just, I figure, at a different frequency.
Right.
And so I ask for her for help, why not? Yeah. So, but they can help in very telepathic and influential ways in terms of subtle things. They're not going to make something suddenly materialize on my desk like that.
Yeah. Again, it comes back to less pushing, but sometimes also just letting things work themselves out, and you never know who really helped. But
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Someone out there was kind of helping you along.
Right.
What also came up for me when you were talking is when you mentioned extroverts and introverts, and I talk about the marketing superpowers in a way. It has to do with the personal power, because we're all so different. So introverts are maybe interested more in one-on-one conversations such as the one we're having, where extroverts are really good actually at going out there and networking, and maybe they love to get on videos and things like that. So really using those things that you're naturally good at, instead of trying to push yourself to do something that you're not naturally good at. For the longest time, I kept thinking, I have to do more of these Facebook Live videos. And I was just like, every time it was just such a headache, until I finally let it go and said, well, that's just not me. That's not what I'm good at. I'm not having fun at it. It's not easy. So why do it? Right. So saying no to the things that don't feel good, and sticking to the things that you're actually already naturally good at, and doing those more. Yeah.
It's more efficient for sure. Yeah.
That also goes along with saying no to thinking that you have to be everywhere.
Exactly.
We're in this era where there's so much on social media, and everybody tells you that you should be everywhere, and on top of that you have to have a podcast, and all these things that we should be doing, and it just gets too much. It just gets it creates more anxiety again, because you're like just struggling trying to do it all.
Right. And the opposite of that is playing hard to get. Where I think the midline there is let yourself be seen, be exposed, be transparent, put yourself out in ways that you enjoy, whether it's maybe on Facebook or whatever you do. But if you like doing a podcast, that can be fun if you like talking like that. Right. But do what you like, but let people have avenues to find you. You don't have to have every single one.
Yeah. Exactly. You decide whether it's one or two, and be consistent in those. I think consistency is a big thing. Don't, be once there, and people are like, well, she's just all over the place, but not doing really anything, right?
Yeah.
Consistency, but don't have to be everywhere. And I guess that also brings up this idea of the fear, oh my God, but if I'm not on Facebook, then what about all these people that I'm missing out on? So it kind of trusting that
it's
your
like a desperation.
People, that your people will find you no matter, which channel you choose.
Right. And that goes back to the non-physical realms. It's like my lighthouse, those of the same vibration. Because in the non-physical world, there is no separation by time and space. Yeah. It's all right there. You could just talk to somebody, close your eyes and talk to somebody on the other side of the world, and they're going to get it. They'll get the idea.
That's where you always lose me, Penny.
Yeah, I know, but it's true. But it's true. When you close your eyes and you go into the present moment, everything is there with you. And all the frequencies are there. And the frequencies are not disconnected between the physical and non-physical world. There's no other side. It's all one big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's there,
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel into that sort of, that's what abundance is. That's what provision is. When you feel like whatever I need, I sort of already have it. I just haven't called it forth yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to go find it and get it. I just have to think of it, imagine it, and make it tactile so that my body gets the sense of it and it'll start materializing.
So how's that different from the law of attraction? Because I know that you're not talking about it that way. You're not talking about manifesting.
Right. I think it's a bit similar, but I don't like the idea of attraction because it makes it unconsciously seem like there's an outside world and something separate from you, and you have to draw it to yourself and get it.
Mm-hmm.
What's really true is what I call the law of emergence, where you're in one realm in a big ball, and that's your reality. And in that ball, there's one frequency that is your frequency mainly, that you saturate it with.
Mm-hmm.
That's your reality bubble, And then anything that materializes in your daily life comes out of that frequency.
Right.
If you've saturated with it. But if you're partially in it, and you're sort of rocking back and forth between the old fear-based perception and I sort of think the new one's real, but I'm not sure yet, and then you get partially real people and partial solutions and some that sort of don't work and they sort of work and don't work. You get the exact same thing as the way you're thinking of it, right? The form will match the inner blueprint, right?
I guess the way it's different is also that, like with these manifesting movements where you're repeating mantras, I am a millionaire, I'm a millionaire.
Right.
You're using trickery or willpower, and there's definitely ego involved. So that's how it's different. You're not using something to get you to something else, right?
Right. I think that, sort of promotion has a lot to do with the whole art of materializing a reality, whether that's going to be enough money to pay your rent or to put your kids through school or to take vacations or feel relaxed about your financial situation, or whether it's doing good works in the world, whatever. There are millions and millions and millions of potential realities that are all in your reality ball. Like I always think of them as like little bubbles. So you want the perfect client, you want situations that'll give you X number of dollars or euros. You and close your eyes and you go into your imagination and you find a bubble. You go to the bubble that has that reality in it, where it's already happening. You're getting, it's easy, it's flowing. You have fun clients, and you keep your attention on that feeling state of that bubble. And as you do, it starts to pay attention to you. It's all about attention. You pay attention to it, it pays attention to you. You love it, it loves you. And it starts to draw toward you. In other words, it's not in the future, it's a potential reality that will come. It's a higher frequency of your present moment reality, let's say. That's all. You raise your frequency to that level, that'll become your reality. It's not out there separate from you. Right. It's only a matter of how you choose to run your energy, if that makes sense.
I like the difference between attention and intention, because that feels very different in terms of
very different. There's no effort with.
I feel constricted if I think about intention. I feel like that takes work. Where
it does. Yeah,
doesn't take work.
Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah.
And so when you simply place attention on a reality that you would like to live in, it will come to you. And it's almost like the particles of the world will just reshape themselves into that reality. And then suddenly you don't know how it happened, but there were synchronicities or events and stuff, and then there you are. And if you want to get rid of a reality, you're done with it, you simply take attention out of it. It's like boredom. It's like Okay, that was great. I got a lot out of that, and I'm not going to fuel it with my attention anymore. I'm just going to pull it back out and let it fade out. And realities come and go that way.
Right. So what about goal setting? I know that has maybe nothing to do with promotion, but that's kind of
it kind of does in a way.
In a way, it does.
Profit,
it's like
it's a goal.
You have this number in your head, and you want to make this much per year, and so you're promoting the heck out of this program because you want to get to this number. But that's the old way. Because in the new way, I guess, I don't know. What are we?
Right. Well, the new way is, remember, we're having a total interrelationship between the non-physical realm, which is the imaginal realm, and the energy and consciousness world, and the physical form world. So you have a potential reality of selling so much, of your product, and you go to that bubble, which is another bubble, and you enter it, and you actually, it's almost like a little movie that you can step into, see how it's working. And if it feels right, good. Your body will tell you. And if you want to tweak it, you're in the imaginal realm. You could tweak it. You can change it. Add another person, take somebody away, make it bigger, make it smaller, whatever you like, because it's such a creative, rubbery state. And so often then you'll go out to that level and you'll be able to see or sense an expanded scope. Let's say your scope is going to expand 50% more than what you already have. Okay, go out to the place where that's actually happening and step into it and see, how do you feel? Oh, I have more energy. I'm not more ambitious. Things are easier. I have success almost like effortlessly. I have great people working with me. I'm traveling. I have a really cool view out of my house, or whatever it is. And the more tactile you can make it, the more real it becomes to your body, and then the more real it becomes as it drops into the physical plane. So you go and get your vision, all right? Then you come back. It's like a round trip. You go out and you look at the vision, you come back to the physical world, and you say, and what can I do right now toward that vision that will feel fun to me as a task? And you do it with that same sense of enjoyment. After you finished it, you go, well, that was good. Yeah. You say, I enjoyed myself. That was great. Now let me go check with the vision, go feel back into it. And, great. It feels wonderful. Come back down. Now what shall I do? So it's not like you do task along a linear line into the future. You're rocking in and out between the vision and a task in the physical world, and then back to the non-physical and back to the physical. And sometimes the vision will evolve while you're working on it. And then you may have you may notice a little need for a change of direction, or for other people to show up, or for it to modify itself slightly. And you just go with it. So you don't plan too far ahead anymore, because you might lock down an old vision that doesn't really need to happen, because that was okay for the first few steps of a process. Right. So
that is so different from what we've been doing up till now. It's like we only ever
5-year plan.
We only ever planned at December and January. This is my goal for this year, and let me see how I get there.
Right. You could say, what is the vision for this year, or what is a larger vision, and what does it seem like wants to happen in a year's time, or in a month's time, or whatever. But that leave it loose, because the flow and the process has its own consciousness and intelligence. Right. And it will show you.
I feel like we've been somehow, forced. That seems like a strong word, but we've been really had this permission to learn how to live in the moment during this lockdown, right? It's like, you can't plan anything anymore. And for so many people, including myself, that was like, whoa, like I feel like I'm floating somewhere in this space.
Yes.
But in a way, I think we had this chance maybe to learn it, or see have a little glimpse of what the new perception is going to be like.
Yeah. It's like that. I don't know if it was a cartoon or a photograph I have of this woman. She's laying on a sofa like, is it Monday or
Exactly.
Thursday? Am I in lockdown or is it open or what, like, and you'd get like that where the left brain definitions of all the segments of everything and the labeling, it's just kind of fading a bit. Like you don't need to hold it so tightly.
Yeah,
that it's okay. Release a little bit and trust the flow and see what it brings to you.
See what it brings. Yeah.
See what you feel like doing. And that ties into all the 7 P's that you have. It ties into promotion because, some days I feel like talking about a lot of things and putting things out on the web, and other days I really feel like doing physical things like gardening,
Right.
or being more down in my body and not so mental. And so you just have to say each time, each case, what now, what now, what now? And then trust the fact that there's a sequencing of things that is really a balancing act for you. That you may not want to do Zoom every day of the week, because there's a certain fatigue factor in it. Mm-hmm. And so you may need to go for walks or bike rides or gardening or do housework or whatever,
I feel almost like I'm balancing out the last 12 years of pushing and promoting and like, I don't feel like doing any of that anymore right now. The only thing I'm really doing is the podcast, and that still feels really good. But other than that, everything feels like an effort. And so since I'm also writing the book, I feel like, no, it's okay. That's what I need to do right now. And really give myself permission to say it's okay. Somehow people won't forget about me, hopefully. And
No. In fact, it'll probably just increase things.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And, I always say with intuition, you don't know things too far ahead or too much behind. You don't, it's very elegant the way intuitions are revealed, or we reveal it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. You get what you need to know right when you need to know it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's an inefficient use of energy.
Yeah. It becomes pushing again because it's not easy if it's not the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes worry. Mm-hmm. And you're spending thoughts on something that's not ready to happen anyway. So, and you're not paying attention to what is supposed to happen right then. Yeah. So you can relax because things come to you exactly when they need to come. And then your job is to notice. Mm-hmm. Notice what you're noticing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then maybe bringing this back to promotion again. I think it's an interesting idea to feel into, which is an intuitive skill, right? To merge with something in order to feel it as the thing itself. When you merge totally with something, you become it. And then you know what it's like and what it needs and what it's giving. And you can do that with clients or with groups of different kinds of clients. And you can become them, pretend to be them, speak as them. Mm-hmm. And then say, what do I need? What do I want? What am I looking for? Mm-hmm. And then you can answer that as out of oneness with them.
Yeah, in a way, that's also the empathy that we're talking about. That's the
empathy. About. Yes, empathy factor is huge in promotion. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in the old way of marketing, we also talk a lot about talking about the problem, addressing the client's problem. And so we've been taught in marketing to kind of blow the problem out of proportion. So the client really realizes, oh my God, they're in such a bad place and they really need our solution. So I'm saying, well, still tell them that, yes, this is the problem, because again, the reticular activating system then realizes, oh, this person can help me with this problem that I have. but without blowing it out of proportion. You just have to address it, and then you go into the positive things, not, negative, this is how bad your life is. No, here's the solution, and let's see if this is a good fit for you.
And of course, there are a lot of things people want that aren't problems.
Yeah.
Right? And that hasn't been really, I guess it is, certain products really are hedonistic in nature. But I think spiritually and in the new perception, a lot of what people want is knowledge and wisdom and more direct experience and connection with other people. And the values of the new intuition age are things that people want. And those that, products and promotion needs to take account of those.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a good place to end it. I think you just kind of summarized.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much of this that really weaves together through all of these 7 pieces. So it's been fascinating to look at it.
Yeah, we could keep going. I think we would still come up with new things. This has been amazing. And I really hope our listeners enjoyed it as much as we did, because I think they could tell that we could just go on and on and on.
Right.
Yeah, this has been
love to delve into this stuff.
And you know what? I would just want to add this. This is part of promotion as well. What we're doing right here, and how fun is that? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
How fun is that? And
exactly.
And it's also partnership, because what we're doing is we're partnering together. And you asked me, would you want to do this? I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. So you're getting the videos and I'm getting the videos. So
and I'm learning things from you and so forth.
I'm learning beyond, blowing my mind. So this has been a huge.
It is great. It is. It's a fun. It's going to be a good series. I'm so glad we've done it, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
Thanks so much for proposing. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. Mention your website one more time.
Okay. Yeah. It's just my name, which is pennypierce.com, PENNEY, and then PEIRCE. So both names spelled oddly. That made me what I am today. Right.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. And if this resonated, do go over to Amazon and check out Penny's 10 books.
Yep.
And the last 4 really address what we have been talking about here. So
thank you. Yeah.
Thanks
Good.
so much, Penny.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
I really, really hope you enjoyed this special summer series as much as we enjoyed recording those episodes. We had such a great time expanding our minds, and I learned so much from Penny. And she even said she learned a few things from me. So as I mentioned in the intro, the page where you can always go back to and listen to the episodes you missed before, or even if watches on video, if you want to do that, that page is ready now. And you can go to sarahsandacroce.com/Penny. That is PENNEY. So sarahsandacroce.com/Penny. I really believe that this is the new way of promotion, of doing things together. And I already have another person in mind and will approach her soon about a collaboration. And of course, Penny and I are also already thinking about other topics we could cover. So ask yourself, who could you reach out to and collaborate with? And I also want to add a little self-promo here. If you're open to growing your business this way at the intersection of being and doing, and would like to support the podcast and be part of a monthly call, why not find out if the Gentle Business Circle is for you? When you join the circle, you get to participate in a live monthly circle Q&A call with me and fellow gentle marketers. And if you can't make that, you get the recording, of course. As a bonus, you get the replays. You also get my Authentic and Fair Pricing mini course and some other bonus episodes every now and then. So These calls take place once per month, every second Wednesday of the month, and there are different levels of support, starting out at $7 per month. You can find out more at sarahsincroce.com/circle and see if that resonates with you. On Friday, I'll close this season with another book update episode. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. Be well and speak to you soon.